What's up guys, my name's Liam. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the brand new Wallhack CR-005. This is a control styled glass pad. And I will say that the surface of this is pretty unique compared to just about anything else that I've tested out there. I've done a lot of reviews on glass pads on my channel. And when it comes to balance or speed options, there's so many out there that the lines have started to kind of blur in the overall performance. However, this one is actually really unique compared to anything else that I've used. So in this video, I'm going to be breaking down how my experience with this has been so far, comparing it to some of the competition out there, and then hopefully by the end of this video I'll be able to help you decide whether or not this could possibly be the perfect glass pad for you. So let's check it out. Before we get started today, I did want to let you know this was sent out to me. However, everything you'll be hearing in this video is going to be my own words and my own opinions. It does come with this very premium feeling case, almost like a Pelican style of a hard case on the outside. So once you do open it up, obviously the glass pad is sitting in here. I have taken it out though. Underneath, you do get this envelope. And then once you do open this up, this does come with some additional dot skates that you can throw on your mouse. I'll go and open this up and show you two sets of skates. You do have the silent PTFE and the silent UHMWPE skates. Also some alcohol wipes to clean off the bottom of your mouse when you do remove the skates. It does also come with this cleaning cloth, feels nice and thick, then some stickers, and then just some documentation. When picking this up, you should have two options for colors aside from their limited editions I'm sure they will come out with, but you have your typical black and white colorways. The dimensions of this is coming in at 510 millimeters in width by 440 millimeters in height, and is sitting at 3 millimeters in thickness. This still features the same silicone backing all the way from edge to edge. Not only does this have a really clean looking aesthetic to it, but this works very nicely at sticking to your desk as you're using it without having to worry about this sliding around on you. And these rounded edges paired with the thinness of this only coming in at 3 millimeters has worked out very well. It's very comfortable to use. I haven't noticed it bothering my forearm at all. This does have a micro concave texture on the surface. I do believe they have a similar type of a structure on the VA005. However, this one is definitely a bit more aggressive. So even though I would say that just the feeling to the touch of this on my skin has felt pretty smooth, you definitely do notice a bit of that feedback on the bottom of your skates as you are moving your mouse across this surface. And the one thing that I will say is it kind of varies from person to person. However, the surface of this has felt really good on my skin. I haven't noticed it sticking too heavily to it or anything like that. As I've been using this, I have been using this without a gaming sleeve. So the reason that the surface is so different from anything else out there actually is a mouse pad where just the overall speed is going to be very similar to this when it comes to the control style glide that you're going to be getting. However, the way that this is so different is the type of feedback that you get on the bottom of your mouse. Again, it does feel smooth as you are gliding your mouse across the surface, but you definitely do notice that feedback there almost the entire time that you're using it. And some of the different properties that you are going to get with this is when you do have a lighter grip and you're barely moving barely pushing into the mouse as you're gliding across the surface or gaming on this, it can kind of feel somewhat more like a balanced style of a glass pad where you see there it's not incredibly slow. Though, just to be very clear with you guys, compared to other style of glass pads out there, I do feel like this is quite a bit slower. So if you are used to more balanced or speed style pads and you're used to just that really fast, smooth glide experience, again, this one does slow down quite a bit and you do definitely notice a bit more of that feedback on the bottom of your mouse. I've tested different skates out, but for bigger skates, obviously, the more surface contact area you have on the bottom of your mouse, you're definitely going to notice this a bit more. So back to the performance, again, it doesn't feel like it's too controlled. You get a pretty smooth glide overall, but when you start to add weight to the surface, it is a huge difference. You get like so much control. It's like almost to the point where it could be a little too much control, it feels like for me. And as a matter of fact, I was even going back and forth and testing this against cloth style pads. Even a lot of pads like the Zowie GSR3, if you're to push into it heavily and try and make micro corrections back and forth, this one gives you a much higher static friction and stopping power the harder that you do press into it. So the biggest reason that the surface does feel so unique to me is because the lighter that you press on top of your mouse, it can feel like more of a controlled balance surface to, again, the more weight that you push into it is where you get a much higher sense of control and even just static friction in general. Now, there's not really any reason for me to compare this to the VA-005 and the overall performance because they feel so far apart from one another. The VA-005 is just much faster, has way lower static friction. However, I will go ahead and demonstrate a glide test comparison between both of them for you really quick. So for the first comparison, let's go ahead and bust out the Harut. This is a balanced glass pad, and I just want to kind of show you the differences between both of these. With the Harut, it does definitely feel a lot quicker on the dynamic glide going back and forth. Definitely notice a difference there, but I would say that the biggest difference between both of these is with the Harut, when you do press into it, you do get some additional control with it being balanced, but it's going to be nowhere near the level that you're going to get over here with the control on the CR-005. So we'll go ahead and drop a glide test comparison between both of these. All right, so next up, we're going to compare it to the Tora from Infinity Mice. When I originally reviewed this glass pad, at the time, I do believe this was the slowest glass pad that I have reviewed. So the differences as far as both of these go in the overall performance, when you're talking about speed and the dynamic glide across the surface, there's not a whole lot of difference between both of these. I do feel like that the dynamic glide on this one is noticeably just a little bit slower. However, the one thing that does separate these two pads apart from one another is this glass pad, the Tora, you do get a really high sense of control when you're pressing into it. But I really feel like if you push really hard into it, you don't get anywhere near the level of control that you get over here on the CR-005. Like if you were to push really hard in this, you like almost can't even move your mouse. So definitely a much noticeable higher static friction on here. Again, this is just when you're adding weight onto it. If you do have a light glide or you're not really pressing the mouse that much, they do have a somewhat similar feeling. Let's go ahead and drop the glide test comparison between both of them. All right, guys, so that about wraps things up on the Wallhack CR-005. I really feel like Wallhack has done an excellent job with the CR-005 and the VA-005. I really feel like just the build of these, everything about them, it does feel like a very premium experience. And they're some of my favorite glass pads out there on the market. If you are looking to pick up the CR-005, I just want to make clear a couple of things about this pad. This is going to give you a very different experience, as I've already stated earlier, from any other type of glass pad out there, so do keep that in mind. This also is going to give you a pretty unique and different experience from using a cloth pad. I would say that if you are a cloth pad user, that the experience you're going to get with this is going to be a more comfortable transition. However, like I said, the properties between even this and a cloth pad are not that similar. Again, this to me, I do feel like has a very high sense of stopping power, but at the same time, it can still give you some pretty decent speed. So I've actually really enjoyed the uniqueness that I get out of gaming on this. I do use control pads quite a bit, and honestly I was able to adjust to this pretty easily. I just try not to push too hard into the surface. Another thing is, even though I haven't had a very long time to be able to test out this pad, I'm pretty sure that with the texture that is probably going to chew up or eat into your skates quite a bit more. I do feel like some PTFE skates have been a little bit more enjoyable on here. You do get a little bit of a quicker glide compared to other controlled style skates that are out there, though those ones might last longer. And then these PTFE skates obviously are probably going to get chewed up a lot quicker. But the performance that I've been getting on this pad, again, been loving gaming on it. Very unique experience. And if you are looking for something on the slower end of the spectrum, something that's different, give you a very high sense of stopping power. If you play TAC, FPS shooters, or anything like that, then this is a cool one to go out there and check out. But aside from that, if you guys do have any additional questions or feel like I left anything out, please let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed watching this video and are interested in seeing more videos like this in the future, please drop this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next one.